ground as well. Well, the atmosphere, as ever at the JJB Stadium, is pretty good. Might not be the fullest we've seen this ground, but they are making a good noise. This is the way they will be lining up this afternoon. Two of those new faces in the Wigan backs, Jamie Amesco, the number 3, and Julian O'Neill, the number 6, both signed from Australia in the close season. Well, the big men up front also contain one newcomer, Craig Smith, the New Zealand international, the big prop forward, who didn't have the best of times in Australia last year, is hoping his career can be reborn in England this. Likewise, Hull have 1 or 2 to assimilate. Toa Koe-Love, the number 4, and Graham Mackay, such a late signing, he didn't even make the official team photo shoot, but there'll be no mistaking him this afternoon. And Chris Chester at 17, playing against the club he played with in the last 2 seasons. Jason Smith, the number 13, standing head and shoulders above the rest of that pack, but another couple of new names in there as well for Hull. Sean Ryan, the number 14 from Cronulla Sharks, and Craig Greenhill, the number 8, who goes under the rather marvellous nickname of Knuckles, and maybe this afternoon we'll see why. These are the 2 benches, mixture of experience and youth from both camps' point of view. Now we're going to have a minute's silence now. Her Royal Highness Princess Margaret passing away earlier today. A minute's silence for Her Royal Highness Princess Margaret, who sadly passed away earlier today, as ever on these occasions, immaculately observed. Stuart Cummings, our referee today, is in his 11th year as a top-flight referee. He's refereed in 3 Challenge Cup finals as well in his time, so he knows all about the big occasion. Matt Crowther prepares to get us underway. One shrill blast from Stuart Cummings, and the right boot of Crowther has this Challenge Cup underway. Kellogg's Nutrigrain Challenge Cup 4th round between 2 of the most fancied clubs in the land. Dallas with the early ball for Wigan. Well, as ever, these early moments are all about who's going to provide a better muscle. Alongside me is Ian Millward, the coach of the side that holds the Challenge Cup at the moment, St Helens. These are very, very important moments here.
Yeah, it's very important to complete the sets early, but it's interesting, they won the toss, Wigan, and they've elected to run into a breeze, in a very swirling breeze.
Here's Farrell looking for a 40-20, big kick downfield, but taken easily by Dion Bird, the Hull fullback, in today because of an injury to Steve Prescott. He's lost the ball, and it'll be Wigan's possession, and that is a real big mistake for Hull to make so early. Well, Dion Bird is obviously going to knock in the tackle. Looking to make the ground.
Well, there's nothing illegal there, Dave. He's ducked into the tackle, and unfortunately he's led with his head, and he's paid the consequences, and his team will, because they'll have to back up another set of 6 against him.
Well, he might be feeling even more shaky than he was before.
It's a very swirling breeze here, Dave, isn't it? You know, I mean, it's very hard to gauge who does have the breeze, but it's swirling, but it seems to be favouring Hull.
I think there's an indication of how strong the breeze is. I think under normal circumstances, Andy Farrell might have fancied a pot at goal there just to settle Wigan's nerves, but they've elected to run. Here's O'Connor. Terry Newton, the man at dummy half. Now Adrian Lamb. Farrell. Hall's defence is remaining firm, and you can hear that bellowing old faithful anthem that they have from their supporters, trying to encourage their side in these early desperate moments. Here's Newton again. Lamb, little twist from the Papua New Guinean, but no way through. And maybe a few afters there as well from the man they do call Knuckles. Farrell with a kick through. Radlinski's on the chase, but Crowther can watch that out of play, and it'll be a tap back on the 20, and I think Hull will be quite encouraged with that opening set of 6.
Well, they haven't touched the ball yet, and they've had to complete the first 2 sets of 6 against Wigan, and it's very important that they hold their line, and it'll give them great confidence.
Greenhill with a drive. Here's a man to watch as well this afternoon, Gareth Rayner, the man they call the next Jason Robinson. Jason Smith. Jackson from dummy half, and this time it's Wigan's turn to give the advantage away. Offside at the play of the ball, not 10 yards back. And a chance for Hull just to settle their nerves with a kick to touch here.
Well, that was interesting. Jason Smith asked his kicker Crowther would he like to have a shot at goal from the halfway, and he declined. And I think the other noticeable thing is Terry Newton is holding his ribs, and he's gone out very wide. He's struggling in defence there at the moment, Terry Newton.
The answer from Crowther was fairly swift as well, wasn't it? He didn't fancy it at all.
No, he didn't.
But here come Hull. This is Craven, longest serving player in the whole ranks at the moment. Chester. He's got so much to prove this afternoon, Chris Chester. Never really did make it into the first choice squad while he was here at Wigan. Greenhill. On from dummy half to Smith again. It's his inside pass that so often proves destructive. Mackay. Here's Crowther. Good tackle from Connolly in desperate circumstances. Here's a tester. Dallas let it drift, but he took it in the end. And he was calm enough to allow the ball to fly out of play on the full, and that will be a tap on the 20 for Wigan, which is quickly taken as well. Here's Farrell. I don't think the referee was...
Geez, a bit unlucky there, Dave. You know what I mean? I thought the referee was said he should have let him play on. You know, the whole point of rugby league, it's a quick game played at speed, and he denied Wigan the chance to play at speed then.
Well, it was a rule we had a couple of years ago, wasn't it? You could take the tap as quickly as you liked, but they've changed it back again now for the referee to decide.
Well, by holding the defence, Dave, it penalises the attacking team, and after a poor skill with that kick, you know, you're penalising Wigan. Anyway, they get the penalty here now.
Well, again, it's a quickly taken one as well, and here's Julian O'Neill on the chase. Quick thinking from the Aussie has suddenly put Wigan in the ascendancy again. Here's Connolly at dummy half. Left for Lamb, and Farrell picking up rather an untidy ball in the end. Further. O'Connor. Knows no other way than direct and straight. Lamb. O'Neill. Here's Radlinski. Radlinski beating a couple of tackles, but not the third. Koilev making short. Lamb. Further. He was looking for the offload. 6 tackle, and it's going to be Newton for dummy half. And Terry Newton has scored. 5 minutes on the clock. And Terry Newton has finally got his side in the lead. It was classic play from the acting halfback's position. And Hull will just be kicking themselves that they weren't a little sharper there.
Well, it's very interesting there, Dave, that Terry Newton, a couple of rucks earlier, went out near the wing. He was struggling with a rib injury. He's now come in. Jamie Ainscove wanted to go to dummy half. He pushed him out of the way. And one of his strongest points, Terry Newton, similar to Kieran Cunningham, is that they can force their way out from close proximity like that, and just too powerful and strong there. And great start for Wigan, and the kick's near the post, so we should turn that into 6.
Well, there's a couple of the big fellas there as well, weren't they? Greenhill and Craven, both close in hand.
Well, it was led by the early ruck by David Furner too. You know, he come back on the inside ball on Adrian Lamb, and he took 3 or 4 defenders with him. And by doing that, he created a lot of opportunities next to the ruck. And Terry Newton's a good player, and he took advantage of it.
Well, Farrell's added the 2 points. You would expect nothing less from a kicker of his calibre. So Wigan have that early advantage that they would have craved.
Once again, the markers aren't set. You know, to play the ball, the player has dominated there. And Newton's taken advantage of great awareness, but it was the ruck before that Furner created the space for him.
Now stay behind, don't get in front. Steve Craven, wait.
Well, Matt Crowther was getting the game underway only 5 minutes ago. He would not have been wanting to take a kick-off again so early. Dallas, and off his wing. O'Connor again, the skipper of the Irish side in the last World Cup. Here's Cassidy. Nice step from Connolly, and Cassidy's on his way. Good recovering tackle from Mackay. O'Neill. Lamb. 6 tackle coming up, and in this swirling wind you would expect a high one from Farrell. Which is exactly what he's delivered. Oh, and Dion Bird was lucky with the bounce, and in the end just had to get rid of it behind his own dead ball line.
Well, Dave, he had no idea where that ball went, and I think it showed that Hull do have the bruise. When it went up, it started going backwards. He had no idea, and I think they're lucky to get out with the line drop out. With the amount of more Wigan players in the frame, that could have been a try. Getting a lot of double sets, Wigan, you know, through their kick and through errors through Hull.
They do look the dominant force so far, don't they? Here's Carter, former Hull player, of course. Last time these two sides met in this competition, he was playing with Hull and had a match-winning tackle to his name on Steve Renault on that day. Here's Newton. Farrell again. Craig Smith's offload. Newton looking to make progress once more. The pass is a little scrappy, and Koilov has intercepted. Now is there a chance here? Koilov sidestepping, and good defensive play from O'Neill, who got a long way back there. But Hull have a little momentum here. Here's Hall. Smith. On again. Here's Jackson. Swept out to this left-hand side of Mark. Still got 3 tackles with which to play here. Mackay. He's a monster of a man. Certainly on the rugby field anyway. Smith again. Good floating pass to Koilov. Last tackle. It's all on here now as Smith dabs it through, a little too hard struck, but Lamb struggling for a moment. Well, Adrian Lamb just about recovered to put it out of play, but that ball was bouncing difficultly.
Well, what Jason Smith's done now, he's challenged Wigan to say, let's see how you go back-to-back sets. A very good set of 6 by Hull. They made easy yardage. Actually, both teams are making quite easy yardage around the ruck area. Now Smith's challenged Wigan. Are they up to the task? We'll soon find out.
Wigan just taking their time with this as well. Farrell's kick is not the deepest. This is Crowther. Craven. Jackson's in at dummy half. Here's Greenhill. attacking the end that the Hull fans are currently occupying, so there's a big roar of encouragement here as Smith slips one. Good pass as well, but Hall is smothered by defenders. Smith again. He's watched closely, but he still gets away. Greenhill for the line. Oh, the offload is to Rydlinski, and now Wigan can break. Here's Connolly. Oh, the pass was maybe forward, it is. Well, desperate handling, trying to get Carney away, but it was too desperate in the end, and it'll be Hall's head and feet at the scrum.
I think this is just isolated what such a great player Jason Smith is. He's created about 3 opportunities. The unload by Greenhill on the inside, taken by Redlinski. Conley, the pass sticks, it's a try. They could have turned defence in straight away into a scoring opportunity. Now the opportunity's got to take, but I think David's been highlighted very early what a talented player Jason Smith is with the ball.
I think it's worth pointing out as well that this is, for both these teams, the first competitive game of the season. They've played a couple of friendlies each, but in terms of competitive rugby league, this is it, isn't it, for the start of the season?
Well, if you look at their end-to-end stuff, and it will tell late in the game, and there was a question mark on 2 of the Wigan front rowers with injuries during the week. Wonder if that'll tell late in the game.
Jason Smith, the Hull player, was also carrying a bit of a leg injury as well. The back of his calf was just stretched a little, hasn't trained as he might have done. Ryan. Here's Jackson.
You just feel here, Dave, that Hull need to turn some points in here, don't they, with the field position they have.
Smith again now. Switches it back central again. Here's Bird, having recovered from that earlier tackle. Gets it away nicely. Greenhill. Very solid defence from Wigan, but it needs to be. They're that close. Smith, little step of his right foot, almost through the whole defence. And then it'll be a penalty for the ball. Didn't play it properly, just anxious to get on with it, and has given away the penalty to the opposition.
Well, they're going to score, so this would be a big call by the ref. And when he passed it from dummy half, the try was on. The ref said he didn't play it well. I haven't been able to see the replay to confirm that, but it was a big call. If he hasn't played it well, it's a brain explosion. If he has played it well, it's a big call by the ref.
Here's O'Connor. Very solid platform he gives this Wigan team, doesn't he, Terry O'Connor?
He's one of the best props in the UK, isn't he? And they look a little bit tired after that onslaught there, Wigan.
Farrell. Both sides have had a little sunshine on their backs, both been to warmer climes for winter training. I can tell you that both sides have really felt the weather this week. Dreadful conditions. They've both been training in hail and sleet and snow, and they've not enjoyed it one little bit. So it's supposed to be a summer game these days, isn't it, rugby league?
Well, it's summer league now. We're probably not as used to these cold days, but with that kick there from Lamb, which team enjoyed it going into touch more? Was it Hull, because there's a break in play, or was it Wigan? I got a funny feeling Lamb read it that they needed a break after that onslaught, and that's the right reason he's kicked it into touch, and both teams walking very slowly to the scrum to get some composure.
Richard Horn feeds the scrum, seen as one of the real bright young things of British rugby league. Here's Bird. Brainer from dummy half. Jackson. Ryan flowing down that right centre's position. Greenhill, here's Hall. Haven't made a great deal of progress, have they, in this set of 6 so far? Mackay will take them just short of the halfway line for the final tackle. It's up to the boot of Smith. And even in these conditions, Chris Rydlinski always favourite to take high balls like that.
Well, he's one of the best catches in Super League into the ball in the air. The other thing is, it wasn't so much they didn't make a lot of yardage, Wigan, I should say Hull. It was a poor kick at the end of it to apply pressure when coming off their line. And that's where Jason Smith's got to do better with his kick.
number 10, Craig Smith, is number 17.
It's interesting, Dave, that Paul Cook, the young standoff from Hull, has been started on the bench. He's a very good attacking player. If Hull can keep him, they've got a very good attacking player coming on in Cook. Harvey Howard's come to the fray now. Craig Smith's has been replaced and Harvey Howard's on, so it's an early change for Craig Smith.
Well, that kick might have gone through the sticks, but it doesn't count as anything. It wasn't a drop kick. It was just a kick for position, really. The position wasn't well found. It'll be Holly restart. Harvey Howard, the man on. Craig Smith, having done his first spell of work. Offside against Wigan. Jackson quick to take the free kick as well. And he's making good ground here. He's got the outside of Rudlinski, but the fullback recovered well. But Hull are suddenly in the position they want to be. Here's Coe Love. Well, in the space of 2 tackles, they've gone from deep inside their own half to within sight of the Wigan line. Hall. Smith. Here's McCarr. Connolly has him covered, but the ball inside to Crowther, and Connolly again with that secondary tackle. Just making sure that Crowther couldn't make the progress. Craven. Smith. Horn, little dummy, inside ball, confused everybody, I think. There's the last tackle again. Smith, quick out from the Wigan defence. Quick hands from Hull. Jackson with a chip. Rudlinski takes. And it'll all start there from there again.
I think the crowd is screaming for a penalty, but it was all fair. You had to put pressure on the kicker. And they're applying pressure here at the moment, Hull, but they need to turn it into points. But they're holding on, Wigan. But Jason Smith gets much more ball. I think they can score.
There's Cassidy, another of those Mr. Dependable players in the Wigan pack. Carney. Lamb on the 6th tackle. He's not going to find touch, but he might find touch, in fact, because it's allowed to roll away by Gareth Rayner, who might have just put a little more effort into that.
Well, I think Sean McRae would have been worried there, because that was on a 40-20, and if it had run, they could have had a feed at the scrum, Wigan. But it was very interesting. Now, I think Lee Jackson would have been very disappointed in that situation there when he took that run and showed an abundance of speed for a hooker, and then he had no one in support. He would have been looking for a centre or winger there. And as the camera shot showed, the winger was very dangerous, letting that kick go, not catching on the full.
Just to explain that 40-20 rule for viewers who are not entirely familiar with it, generally if a side kicks a ball out of play, the opponents get the head and feed, which normally means, as we've just seen, they win the ball. But if you kick the ball from inside your own 40-metre line and it goes out of play beyond the opposition's 20-metre line, then you get the head and feed and a real chance to attack the opponent's line. So you'll see a lot of kicks from both sides attempting just that. That's good play from Mackay. Crowther did well to hold on, but Carney held on to him in turn. Jackson. Smith. There's Dion Bird up into the line. The fullback, short ball. Ryan's well covered. It's Bird again getting involved. Greenhill. Jackson just probing for the gap and not really finding any. Keeping it alive well here, Hull. Hall. Going to test that defence again. Carney's the man underneath it, and he's under an awful lot of pressure. Crowther with a tap back. Still the 6th tackle, but here's Mackay. Now he'll have to get rid of it, and he has done. Crowther again. The Wigan scramble defence is excellent, but Hull's interchange with the hands is good too. Here's Greenhill again. The prop kicks. Well, the ball is tantalisingly just holding in the in-goal area, and in the end Rayner was just beaten to it by the bounce, though Dallas might have had it covered.
Well, I don't think Craig Greenhill gets to practice many kicking, and as an old saying, I think we end up with a trombone in the wind section then, and his execution wasn't great, but it wasn't far off being good. And that's where at the moment they're applying a lot of pressure, Hull, and Be interested to see if they can hold on here, Wigan, because they're using a lot of juice, and it could show against them in the back end of the game.
And as you say, the longer the game goes on, the more the fitness levels will be tested on both sides. And you don't want to be defending too much in these early stages, do you, under those circumstances?
Well, I think you made a good point earlier. This is really the major first hit out of the season for both teams, so that they're not going to be fully wound up.
Furner. Terry Newton missed out on Great Britain selection last year due to an arm injury. Here he is again. Here's Farrell. Nice little dinky chip as well, but it should be covered and is by Crowther. Cassidy was the first man there, as so often you'd expect him to be.
It's been a while since Hull have had to come out of their half, so it's their turn to be challenged by Wigan now.
Okay. Conley's got it away from him, but after the tackle was complete, according to the referee. Now that was one-on-one, so if the tackle had not been complete, that would have been perfectly legal from Gary Conley's point of view, but the referee deciding that he'd already shouted held.
Well, that's a fair one-on-one steal. Gary Conley should be playing the ball and Wigan attacking the whole line. Very unfortunate there, Wigan. Dave, I was going to ask you, does he look like from WWF wrestling, that Graham Mackay? He is a huge man, isn't he?
He looks like one of the baddies off a James Bond film, doesn't he, Graham Mackay? He's got an impressive test record. He's got an average of scoring 3 tries in every test side he's played in for Australia. Every test match he's played in, he scores 3 tries. It's a record that's slightly spoilt by the fact he's only played 1 test match, and that was against Papua New Guinea.
It's a very noticeable they're attacking Graham Mackay's side, and he's doing a lot of work, but so's Conley. He's having to do a lot of defending on Mackay.
There's Horn. Well, again, they're inside Wigan territory, aren't they? And they'll want something from this, but Carino's hands have let him down. And Wigan have possession back again.
Well, that's their first error, Hull, since the first minute of the game when Bird dropped it on that kick. And, you know, they've gone 22 minutes without an error. It just shows you how they've dominated field position.
O'Connor. Ricky Bybee, the youngster, is about to make only his 4th appearance in a Wigan shirt. Penalty in the meantime has seen Wigan get valuable ground here. Farrell's kick to touch has put them in just about position A here, with 6 tackles to come. Here's Lamb. Harvey Howard. Lamb again. Here's Farrell. Wigan have pulled them in down the middle. Can they work it out wide? Not quite. O'Neill. O'Neill's little step almost eked him through. Here's Lamb again, has support on the left, but he also has the very ominous presence of Curry Love to make sure he can go no further. Farrell. O'Neill's quick pass, here's Redlinski. He's rather thrown it away, but we can still have it. Here's O'Neill again. Connolly. Newton. Newton's kick. Now, how good is this? Dion Bird is just back in time to provide some more desperate defence when it was needed most. But Terry Newton is proving a real menace from that dummy half position.
Well, it's great awareness as you see Dion Bird, the fullback, is defending up in the line there because of some unloads by Wigan. And great awareness by Newton, great execution, but Bird's really turned and got on his bike, and he's done very well to shoulder the ball over the dead ball line. Very good work for both teams there.
Craig Greenhill has gone off to the blood bin, by the way. Replacing him is Paul King, the man who's come on. You've seen in his shot there, wearing the number 10 on his back. This is Lamb. It's a strong run by Farrell. has had so much responsibility taken off his shoulders of late, Andy Farrell, with Wigan signing these extra ball players like Lamb and O'Neill, who's used as a dummy foil here. Here's Cassidy. Oh, and Cassidy has thrown it away. Hull have it back again.
They'll be disappointed with that last option there, Wigan. They had the space and they had people that just need to run into holes. Very noticeable when Terry Newton runs from dummy half. It's causing problems for Hull. But here's a 40-20 by Jason Smith, but.
Well, it was just about a 40-50 in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a poor kick. You could see the winger and fullback were up, but it was just his execution was poor. His idea was fine.
This is Redlinski at dummy half. Ainscope. Looking for the gap for Cassidy to run into. Connolly. Ainscope again. Howard. That whole defence has done well here. Carney gets it inside though. Here's Connolly. Again, the whole defence is working hard. And that ball is rolled forward and it's gone to Chester. He's taken a bit of a knock, but he's still got it away to Ryan.
Gee, Dave, there's a lot of unloads in both teams, which is causing a lot of disruptions to the defensive shape of both teams. But I feel there's a lot more unloads, maybe because it's early in the season, their defence technique. But there's an awful lot of unloads in this game at this present time.
Craven. Well, that was high from Terry Newton.
I think you might see him take the two here, Dave. You know, I think both teams did a little bit of a blow, but I think they need to turn this into points, Hull.
Well, Steve Craven's a brave lad, isn't he? Because he's had a couple of real bad facial injuries in his career. But he's come back on both occasions. Still plays with an awful lot of courage.
Well, it's a sign of confidence by Hull. They said, no, we're not worried about the two, we're going to go for the 6.
Maybe it was another of those that Matt Crowther didn't really fancy, kicking from that distance in this win. Here's Marr. Hull fans felt they should have had a real penalty there. King, Horn, sweeping it wide well. Here's Kovalov. Well, they've got 4 tackles from here, Hull, so plenty to play with. Here's Rayner. He's dangerous, and he's almost through. He's got a good offload as well. Pass wasn't good. Smith. Oh, how cheeky was that?
They've got some space over here on their left-hand side, Hull, if they take it to them.
Jackson goes the other way.
They've still got numbers over on their left, Hull, if they want to bring it to their left.
And here it comes, and here's Jason Smith. King just bounces away. Hull are looking dangerous here. Jackson with a dead kick again. Redlinski has to be quick. He's missed it. But with the back of his heel, he just about diffused the danger. And they'll have to face another set of 6 here as well, because this will be a dropout under the sticks.
Yeah, both hookers are doing fine jobs here at the moment. Jackson this time says, whatever you can do, Newton, the opposite hooker, I can do just as well. And this one's a lot closer. There's not much in this. Redlinski works very hard. Actually, he doesn't get it clean, but it goes dead.
Steve Craven watching the kick and following it up perfectly as well. Almost getting there first.
I think we've got to congratulate both teams' defence at the moment, Dave, haven't we? You know, I mean, except for that run by Newton from dummy half, you know, I mean, it's been a scoreless at the moment, but there's been plenty of attack.
Well, it's a cracking cup tie. We'd expect nothing less, but just to underline again, this is the first match of the season, real match of the season for both these sides. So there's bound to be a certain amount of rustiness, but they're giving us a real good confrontation. Smith, nice dummy. Here's Mackay. Tries to go on the outside of Carney, but Carney's done well. Mackay. Well, maybe echoes there of his rugby union career for Mackay, because he tried to get rid of the ball when he really didn't need to.
Yeah, I think he got Union mixed up with the lead here. I don't know if he had gone into touch. If we look here, no, he's not into touch, because Carney's between him and the touch line, and that's a real let-off for Wigan at present.
You can tell him he made an error at the end. Leave that to you. They are amongst the best fans in rugby league, the Hull fans. very, very passionate about their side. Further. Here's Bybee. Ricky Bybee, the youngster from Lee, signed from Lee Easts. He was sent off in only his second game for Wigan against Salford last season. Newton. Here's Farrell. Cassidy. Oh, good tackle from Jason Smith. He's good with the ball in his hands, and he's good when the other side's got the ball in their hands. Farrell. And the ball just bouncing over Crowther again. It might run away from him here. It's a potential 40-20, but the outfield just a little slow. Good tackle, Cassidy. Terrific stuff, isn't it? I mean, both defences really are.
It is, you know, I mean, and both teams seem like they've lifted up a gear at the moment.
Well, Stuart Cummings wasn't sure there. He just had a glance towards his touch judge on the far side to decide whether that was interference at the play of the ball or whether Hull were at fault. And he's decided that the interference was against Hull. Well,
he might have just dropped it cold, you know. I think that's two decisions gone Hull. We look at the Conley one-on-one and we look at that one. It's relieved a bit of pressure for Hull. Both decisions have.
King. There's a little gap there for Hall to run into, and he's found it. Redlewski ahead of him, Hall with a chip. It's a foot race now. Miles in hot pursuit, but look at those Wigan players back in numbers. And it's out of play. The boos are from the Hull fans who felt that Hall might have been obstructed, but I think he just ran into the player, really, didn't he, here?
Well, I think the wind kept carrying it here. No, Redlinski's got to, you know, commit. What if he dummied on the kick? You know, he's got to take the man with the ball there. That's okay. It's just the kick. The breeze took it and took it over the dead ball line. I think where Horn would have been disappointed, there wasn't anyone pushing up from the outside or the inside of him to take advantage of that break.
Harvey Howard, explosive player. Greenhill back from the blood bin. Steve Craven has gone off as a result. Cassidy. Lang. Little chip again, which is well read by Redlinski. It bounces nicely. And a good tackle from Bird. Has he finished the job? He has now. But here's a sixth tackle. Further with a kick. Oh, and there's a good reason why second rowers don't kick very often.
We've seen some forwards kick the ball. That was a poor option by Furner. They'd made the space and they had the defence backpedaling. It was a great chance to put the ball through the hands there, and they've relieved the pressure now with a poor execution on the last tackle.
Just a reminder that if you're just switching on, full afternoon of rugby league action, maybe even action, here on Grandstand today. Bradford Bulls, the world champions, against the Leeds Rhinos, coming up right after this game is finished. They're just looking for the platform again. Here's Jackson. Oh, Bird. Perhaps wasn't anticipating the pass as well as he should have done.
Well, it was on there. Jackson's caused a lot of problems around the ruck area, and unfortunately the pass didn't stick. And that's the last two sets they haven't completed now, Hull, which is giving Wigan a little bit more field position to get into the Hull half.
Snazzy headgear, isn't it? One or two players these days are wearing headgear of a similar style. Dion Bird, one of the most famous head protector wearers. Mick Cassidy on the Wigan team normally wears headgear as well, but I don't think he's wearing it today, is he? Here's Connolly. Just over 5 minutes, as you can see, away from half-time. And the fact that we've had only one try so far is a testament to the defence.
It's a vital period now for Hull. They've done a lot of hard work, but there's 5 minutes to half-time, just under 5 minutes. They're under a little bit of pressure here, field position. It's a vital time they go into half-time, no more than 6 down.
There's Harvey Howard. Newton, options right and left, goes for Lamb. Cassidy with a run. Good tackle.
Another Jason Smith tackle. He is one good player.
This time it's Dion Bird who bends Andy Farrell and dumps him rather in ceremonious circumstances. O'Neill. Whole defence did well to wrap him up. Here's Newton from dummy half. They'll have to watch here. A drive for the line. Werner just held at bay, but can they do it again? He's over the line, but he has not put it down.
Well, that was a replay, Dave, wasn't it, for Newton's previous try? Werner got the ball, Newton went to dummy half and tried to burrow over. This time he's not successful. I think he's a little bit greedy there. It's a last tackle. They need to put the ball in the in-goal area or move it wide to apply pressure to get double sets on Hull. And unfortunately here, it hasn't worked the second time.
Well, had it not been the sixth tackle, that would have given Wigan the ball back, wouldn't it, with a scrum 10 yards out, and that might have been a good option, but as it was a sixth, it's a straight handover, and Hull who have possession back again. Jackson, Bird, anticipated well, and he's got through the first line. Dion Bird, where's the support? 10 yards short of the halfway line. Jackson. Nice hands. Love. Crowther. Looking for the disruption behind the ruck area. King. Trying to fool the defence using Mackay, but didn't really fool anybody. Smith again, he'll hoist it high. Widlinski, he's so good in those situations. He's the high ball king, isn't he, Chris Widlinski? He eats those for breakfast, lunch and tea.
They made a lot of easy yards on that last set of 6 Hull through courtesy of Jackson. He's having one good game, Jackson, here today in attack. He's doing very well, and they're dominating field position. They just can't turn it into points at the moment, Hull. They've just got to hang in there. 4 tackles gone, this is 5 now, and they're still quite a distance inside their own half. So they'll have to put ball to boot. Here's Lamb. Crowther. Good chase by the Wigan defence. Doing what they had to do. Bird. Jackson scurrying from dummy half again. This is King. Always given it away as a foul. Who anticipated the offload? Now, has he got support? Yes, he has. Here's Connolly. Connolly will use his pace on the outside. He's beaten Bird. It's a fabulous Wigan try, and Gary Connolly is back to his best. Vintage stuff from the Wigan centre, and the whole defence had simply no answer. Talk about the straw that broke the camel's back. You know, we had there Hull getting some unloads and making easy yardage. You know, at free will around wherever they wanted to go. Farrell's anticipated. He's done very well to push up there. He's had the awareness now. He must get an unload. He's tried to get to Connolly. Connolly showed exceptional pace. Bird can't foot it with him, and he's even got Carney on the inside. That is one big nail in the coffin there for Hull, right on half-time. I think that is time up now. He's done well, Farrell, buddy. He knew he had people on the outside, and he knew he had to position them, and he knew he had to get the ball to them because they had space. Well, they say Gary Connolly's lost his pace, don't they? But signs there that he's just about as quick as ever. Well, if you have a look in the Test series, he's probably one of the best defensive centres in the Test series against England back in October. The interesting thing is him and Mackay, the ball's gone more to their side on both sides if they're both targeting each other. So they've had to do a lot of work, and then Connolly's backed it up with some speed. There's Andy Farrell. One of the coolest kickers in the game. He's able to take any kind of pressure on his shoulders and deliver kicks like that. He's edged his side, 2 scores clear, right on half-time. It could not be a bigger psychological blow for Hull to have given the ball away like that. Terrific anticipation from Andy Farrell. Really read the game well. And this was all about finishing. And Gary Connolly knows how to finish. Wigan have the lead, but Hull have shown us that they are going to give us a real battle in the second half. But Wigan lead 12-0 at half-time.
Substitution just before half-time there, replacing number 12, David Werner, with number 19, Stephen Wild.
centre of that first half. Hull really were giving Wigan a tremendous battle. Grandstand from Valley Parade in Bradford this afternoon in anticipation of part 2 of this Challenge Cup double-header this afternoon. We've got a fantastic match coming up at 3 o'clock, Bradford against Leeds, but this one is pretty good, Wigan against Hull. And Tommy Martin of St Helens is with us, along with Jonathan Davis. Real hammer blow from Wigan just before half-time, though, there.
Yeah, desperate. They've had all possession, territory, and they've been the better side, but 2 chances and they scored 2 tries, and just before half-time is a killer from a mistake from King.
But a match of some quality, and particularly some defensive quality.
It is. I mean, you've got to realise that this is their first proper hit out of the season, and to be, you know, for Hull to be playing Wigan, Wigan to be playing Hull, you know, they won't be too happy about that. But a lot of offloads, and like you said, the defence is very strong.
Few mistakes. Take a look at the first try for us, Jonathan. A very straightforward try, it seemed, from the Wigan point of view. Terry Newton.
Yeah, take a ball. It's a great try. I think it's Furner going in, takes the ball down, and you know, there's, as Tommy says, first game of the season, maybe not switched on, and Craven, number 15 there, just doesn't react quick enough. Quick play of ball. There's a gap there. Doesn't come off the line. His body angle is a bit too high, and Terry Newton gets below him. So it's very difficult to get under him, that especially when Fern had played the ball so quickly. I thought, you know, good start for Wigan. But the quality has been exceptional. The handling, the balls out of tackle, and even the angles of running this early in the season has been superb. Yeah,
especially from Hull. Great deal of pressure from Hull after they conceded that first try, which made conceding the second try so heartbreaking for Paul King in particular.
That's right. Like you said, Paul King goes running into the tackle here, and as he's looking, I mean, I don't know if Sean McRae's made it as a ploy to be doing so many offloads, but like I say, I don't think he'd be too happy with that offload straight to Farrell. And Faz does really well here to get the ball to Connolly. And like I say, Gary just has the outside on Dion Bird, and it's all over.
Pace from Connolly, some good quick thinking from Andy Farrell there.
Yeah, you know, you do your homework, you know, when you've got the ball and when you haven't got the ball, and if you know that people are going to turn an offload, as the Hull players will know that Harvey Howard does it and Smith does it, and they'll try and get behind. But Faz intercepts, and it was great finishing by Gary Connolly. But Dion Bird had just taken a drive in, so to take the drive in and then come back and then try and get to Gary Connolly, you know, it was a difficult job. But great pace and a great finish, and it's a real blow for Hull.
Let's take a look at a bit of that Hull pressure. There was a point about 20 minutes in where you thought, well, they must score here, but some good defensive work from Wigan.
That's right. I mean, if you look, everything seems to be revolving around Jason Smith. You know, he's got all the time in the world. I think Sean McRae will be desperately disappointed that they don't turn all the pressure into points, and like you say, it's another interception there.
It's great reading of the game, though. You know, you look at the inside ball and the work that the inside defence works a lot across, and you know, he read the play. Rudlinski read the play very well, and you know, although you say it's a bit of luck and unfortunate, you know, it's good play by Rudlinski's part just to read the pass, and they had to react, because if he'd have had the clear field there, he'd have scored.
Yeah, Radlinski very strong in defence throughout. I mean, apart from that interception, here are a few more examples of Radlinski, Jonathan.
Yeah, he comes across, look at the pace he gets here. I think it's Craven racing against him. He's fortunate here because, look, his leg just kicks the ball, because I think both players had no idea where the ball was going, but he did the you know, the thing of getting to the ball before Craven, and you managed to get it over the in goal.
Now, you mentioned the contribution of Jason Smith. How important, from the Wigan point of view, is to keep Jason Smith quiet in the second half?
I think it's important. It's not just Jason Smith, but you've got to watch all his runners. If you look at the plays, they all seem to react to him. It looks as though there's nothing on here. All of a sudden, he can just put the flick out the back door, and like I say, if he's got the plays, you're only as good as your supporting players, and the old players seem to be reading him pretty well.
What he does, he's the old-fashioned. People say there's a lot of, you know, skill going out of the game, but he is a very skillful player. I think he's in the mould of Tommy. You know, they're great ball skills. They get the ball out of the tackle. They got the little grubbers, and they can pick their runners up. So, no, but he's a tough cookie as well. That's the thing, and everything revolves around him. If they can close him down.
He just doesn't seem to be pressured. No matter how many players are around him, he always has the time.
Yeah.
He masters defence as well. You know, he sees the runner come there. He's left a hole for him to come, but he knows if he gets the ball, he's going to nail him, because he wasn't up in the line. So, you know, he's hitting tackles as well. And when you see an import, an Aussie coming in and doing the hard work we all know they're skillful players, but doing the hard work as well, you know, it's a great lift for all your team.
Well, Jason Smith has got some hard work to do in the second half. Sean McRae, the Hull coach, has got some hard work to do in that dressing room to turn this one round. It's Wigan ahead by 12 points to 0. We'll be straight back with live second half coverage. But let's just turn our attention from Rugby League for a few minutes to another huge event that's coming up on BBC television in a few weeks' time. In anticipation of that, we had the Grand National weights declared at the usual lavish lunch this past week, and of course Claire Balding was among those who were invited.
Last year, Red Marauder's name has certainly been etched in racing's record books, but you may not know you can actually walk up to a bar and order a Red Marauder. This is the drink in question, made of the sponsor's finest, and their support, as well as the hard work from Aintree, have ensured that the race has never been more popular with the professionals in the game. 144 represents a record entry in the race this year, and the connections of some of the key contenders were enjoying a lavish lunch at the Savoy earlier this week, where the handicap was unveiled. Well, Mark, I know how much the Marseille Grand National has always meant to your family, and I think you've caught the bug too.
Oh, most definitely. It's one of those races that really gets the imagination and gets you fired up, and coming so close with Smarty running such a good race last year. We've got quite a big entry this year. I've got 6 entered. I think 3 will definitely get in, and so we'll go there many-handed.
And as far as you're concerned, you came so close to winning it as a jockey. Would it be the ultimate achievement for you to win this as a trainer?
Well, I think you look at the ones that you've had one hand on the cup and not got the other hand on, and you'd like to go back and get both hands on it. And, you know, I was lucky enough to win a Gold Cup as a jockey, so if I had to choose one, Gold Cup or National at the moment, I'd have to go for the National, having been so close.
Martin, just the 16 then this year?
Only 16 this year. We had 10 runners last year. It'd be nice to have the same number.
How on earth do you keep tabs on so many?
I'm good at that. I'm good at that. It's easy to follow them all.
And do you sort of set them any questions, or they have to fulfil any role to actually be considered a Grand National horse?
All depends on the ground, doesn't it? We've just seen the weights and their progress up to the Grand National. But everybody wants to have a runner in the Grand National, and as long as they're qualified and got a good chance, we'd like to run them.
Well, Ferdy, not quite as many entries as Martin Pike, but 8's a fairly strong number, and 3 of them I know you think have serious chances.
Yeah, and I suppose of those, Paris Pike and Axel would be good ground horses there, and Streamstown, obviously he wants a soft, so we'd have a bit of a chance either way.
Had you thought of Streamstown as a real Marseille Grand National horse before Saturday, or did that really spur you on for Aintree?
Yeah, he jumped great. Adrian obviously was very good on him, and you know, he hunted him around, which you probably need around Aintree anyway, and he's come there on the second circuit and he's done it very well.
What a stamina test this is. Streams down the far side, digging deep. He's going to outstay it himself up towards the line. Streams down. A wonderful winner, a gutsy winner of the Singer and Friedlander.
Well, Ginger, with the famous colours of Red Rum behind you, you must be thinking once again of glory in the Grand National.
Well, I am actually. I think we're going to go with a very, very serious chance indeed this year, which is lovely. And I'm not worried about winning it or losing it, just to have a horse good enough to train for it and to go there and let it do its best.
And good enough to believe in, and I know you put your money where your mouth is.
Yes, I have this year for a change. You know, most unusual for me because I'm not a gambling person. But I thought this 40-to-1 stuff was absolutely ridiculous. I may be speaking out of turn, and I think they'll have to shoot him to keep him at the first 6.
And 25 years since Red Rum. Maybe that's a clue to this year's romantic Grand National story, but Grand National Grandstand from Aintree on April the 6th. Meantime, football, we can give you the result from the Forest-Millwall game, and Millwall finished with the 3 points, which take them to 3rd in that nationwide First Division. Forest getting a consolation penalty just before the end, but it finished Nottingham Forest 1, Millwall 2. And still continuing on BBC Two, tensely poised Davis Cup doubles. Great Britain ahead, 5-4 in the 3rd set, 1 set apiece. Henman and Rosetsky won the first. Back came Bjorkman and Johansson to win the second, 6-2. And it's all very tense in Birmingham, and live coverage is continuing right now on BBC Two, the Davis Cup doubles. Meantime, it'll be Bradford against Leeds at 3 o'clock. The Leeds team just arriving and out to prove themselves this afternoon against what they acknowledge is perhaps the best team in the world. And Leeds have built well, they've recruited well, the likes of Ben Walker from Australia, who has to assume the mantle of Yestin Harris. But Bradford have completely dominated Leeds in recent times. Will it be a different story today? We shall find out. 3 o'clock kickoff here at Valley Parade for Bradford against Leeds. That's after our live second half coverage from the JJB Stadium of Wigan against Hull. Wigan having taken a 12 points to 0 lead with that try just before half-time. We'll go back to our commentary team, Ian Millward and Dave Woods.
Well, that try just before half-time may prove to be decisive. It really was a sickening blow as far as Hull are concerned. And there's a story of the first half. And one telling statistic there, Ian Millward, 21 offloads from Hull, only 12 from Wigan. But of course, one of those offloads produced a Wigan try.
Well, a couple produced breaks too, but it was noticeable during the game that Hull did dominate them in the tackle with their unloads. And the other thing too with the amount of unloads is they've had to make it just a little bit more tackles, Hull, and I would have thought that Wigan had to make more tackles. And both teams, when they come off at half-time, look very gassed and look very fatigued. So at 12 points could be a little bit more comfortable than we think on the scoreboard, considering it's their first game, as we've mentioned during the game. But if they keep it up at the unloads, Hull, it could create some disruption in the Wigan defence.
You say unloads, I say offloads, but we still love each other, don't we? Here come the two sides. Andy Farrell, the man who really anticipated very well to produce that second Wigan try. One substitution, in fact one blood bin at half-time. David Furner is off in the blood bin. And Stephen Wilde is the young man who's coming on. He's only 20 years of age, but he's Wigan-born lad. Big thrill for him. He's one of 10, you know. He's the youngest of 5 brothers. He's also got 5 sisters. And I'm sure they're all in the crowd watching this afternoon. He remembers the 1989 Cup final, Wigan against St Helens. That was his first memory of watching Wigan, and he was hooked from that moment on. He's the only member of his family that actually plays rugby league, but he's a real star of the future. Stuart Cummings, star of the present.
Right, make sure everybody stays behind, fellas. Right, stay behind.
And we're about to get it underway again. At Hull, desperately need to score first in this second half.
They must score first, Dave, you know, and they must create pressure, but they do need to score first. I think that's important.
There's Richard Hall, not entirely sure of where he was for the moment, but going to make 5 yards or so.
But the interesting thing too, Dave, is I think Sean McRae probably wants them to continue the same way they are and not panic about playing the ball. And scoring tries and losing possession. I think it's important they continue what they're doing, because it was quite effective in the first half. It was just they couldn't convert into tries, and they keep at it. I'm sure they'll get rewarded.
It's hard to judge which way the wind's blowing as well, because you look at the flags at one end and they're blowing one way, and one flag's blown over at one end, but they're blowing in opposite directions to each other. It's a real swirling gust, isn't it? Neither side has any advantage whatsoever.
It swirls here more than dominates down the field. And I think that was shown when Krauth had that opportunity to kick a couple of shots at goal, and he declined. He didn't look comfortable with it.
Maybe now he wishes he had taken a shot at goal. Here's Chester, inside ball. Ryan, looking to have a big influence on this whole team, not only today but this season, making his debut. Smith, little offload again, and Richard Hall with a sidestep. It's building nicely here. Here's Smith again. Chester's quick ball, and it almost, well, for the moment it looks as though Ainscough was through, but then he's given the ball away, and Hull have it back again. There's a stroke of luck, and if cup ties have turning moments, well, maybe we have just seen one.
You might be a prophet there, Dave, because Ainscough is super quick, and if he controls that ball, he scores. He got tripped, and then he lost the ball. Yep, you might be onto something here.
King driving forward. Chester. Little sachet of the hips. Oh, nice offload as well. Jason Smith has support. Dion Bowen with a short ball. Wigan's defence will recover quickly. Jackson again. Here's Smith once more, dictating all the pattern in the middle of the field. A little dummy from Horn. He's half through. It was a desperate tackle from Harvey Howard that pulled him down. But Hull are only a yard away. Smith again. Reverse pass. Mackay. Has he gone over? There's a long look, and it's the square in the air from the referee. We're going to have to look at the replay here.
Well, Mackay thinks he's put it down. He's acknowledged his teammates. But, gee, they say rugby league's a game of inches. How many times have been pulled up short hole in this set of 6? Here we go, Jason Smith, the reverse flick. A great skill. Does he get the ball down? He sure does. It's on the line, and on the line in rugby league is a try. I'm going to try, Dave. Come on, what do you think?
Well, I think, and it hurts me to say this, I have to agree with you.
Okay. We're not supposed to agree with each other, are we?
It's not in the contract, is it? But I mean, that's a terrific pass. Jason Smith is just a magician with the ball in his hands. And, well, if Smith's the magician, Mackay's the big bad ogre of the fairy tale, and it could be a happy ever after for Hull.
That's a try. And I think if we're going to go to the big screen, I think the video ref decided. Here it goes.
Just to remind you here, it's the video ref who's making the decision here, and it is a try. 4 points for Hull. The referee deciding he didn't get a good enough view of that, so he handed over it to the big screen, the fourth official, who has the benefit of watching the action replays, and he's given it Hull's way. Turning point of the game.
Well, Dave, you hit it on the head. You said, is that going to be the big turning point we're going to talk about in this Challenge Cup game at the end of it? And it certainly is. We've got a game on our hands, and I think it was noticeable there, the amount of space young Horn, I think he's only about 19, 20 years of age, Richard.
Yep.
The amount of breaks he made there in that set of 6, and the amount of inches they were caught short of the line, Hull. And you thought, is this not going to be their day, they're going to score? And then Smith comes up with a real genius act with that flick pass. Mackay's awareness, because he's worked very hard in the first half, Mackay, was very good too on the inside.
Matty Crowther will close the noise up from his head as he attempts what is a very important conversion attempt, but he's pulled it wide. He has pulled it wide, and it means that Hull still have to score twice to win this game.
Well, if we look at the replay here again, you know, Smith, he was running out a little bit of options here at the moment. Horn makes the break, and he was desperately unlucky to be ankle tapped there, which he was on the previous set over the other side. They go to Smith, he ran out of numbers, but he flicked it back on the inside. The Wigan defence had drifted instead of pushing up, and they were punished with it by a big man scoring a try.
I suspect they've practised that on the training ground once or twice this week.
Well, Smith's just a person you've got to keep very alert around, because he's got a bag of tricks.
Everybody knows what he's going to do. It's just a case of stopping and doing it. That's the problem, isn't it? As with all great players.
Well, I think Tommy Martin mentioned at half-time, great players have time. You know, they always look they're comfortable with time, and he does have time. Here we've got another error by Hull.
Jackson, who's lost the possession. Can Wigan respond in kind? Howard. Lamb. Well, they've got another 4 tackles to come here, Wigan, so they're in a good position. Here's Farrell. Cassidy. Highs from Smith, but just about legal, and I think Jason Smith has taken him up there as well. He's flat on his back. Here's Lamb. Long ball wide. Carney. Oh, and he's almost over. 6th tackle coming up. They're that close. Here's Lamb again. Little jab kick through. Oh, good footwork. Terrific footwork from Greenhill. Any Premiership managers watching?
Well, the big reason why the Hull fans had their heart in their hands there was not only keep Wigan out, is Jason Smith down injured, and that's a bit of a problem for him.
Got a handling error as well. So stoppage in play. Let's hear from the touchline. Kevin Howells is our man down on the touchline.
Well, I can tell you, Dave, it really is very tough for the players out there. Swirling strong winds. Both camps have talked about that as they came back out, having given their sides those half-team talks. I don't think Wigan really will have been that surprised with the response from Hull. They say they're playing beyond themselves. Dennis Betts is very impressed with the Hull performance. Was hopeful that try just before half-time may have pushed it in the Wigan favour, but at the moment, of course, Hull very much in it. And Hull, well, their word to their players was be patient. Apart from the last 5 minutes of that first half, they were very pleased with the way their players were performing. Disappointed with that Connolly try just before half-time. They'll be happier now, but they say be patient. Things are going very well from the Hull point of view. At the moment, of course, they still trail.
Well, here's a big moment for Hull, as Jason Smith does not look very happy at all. Here was the moment. He went high, and Just got a bang in the face, I think.
Well, I think you'll find there Dave Cassidy's come off also. They're both, there's been a clash of heads. It's a blood bin for both.
Well, Paul Cook is a man who's come on for Jason Smith. He's no mean talent, is he, Paul Cook?
One of the real up-and-coming players of English Rugby League. He's an English player, very good ball skills.
Here's O'Neill. I've seen an awful lot of Julian O'Neill this afternoon. Bybee. Oh, there's a chance. Oh, and it's over. Stephen Wild has got the try. Well, what does that mean to that young man? Wigan lad through and through, and he scored a touchdown that has given his side a real advantage again.
Well, they've come up with 2 errors in a row, Hull, after that try. Haven't completed a set of 6. The smile on the young kid's face says it all. Challenge Cup, his first big game in a Challenge Cup, and he comes up with it. Gets an unload, controls it. Good left arm fend. Really keeps the legs moving and really stretches out. You know, he's done very well there, the kid. But it's the errors that compounded by Hull. 2 major errors in a row. Smith off the field. Their defence found wanting through added pressure through their errors, Hull. And they come up with the start they wanted, but they've now compounded it by coming up with the errors and giving Wigan field position and points.
That took some scoring as well, that try, didn't it?
Well, it was a vote of confidence for him, wasn't it? You know, I mean, he was prepared to take them on.
There's Farrell. Oh, he's put it wide. Normally impeccable, but he's pulled it wide.
I think Farrell last year was kicking at something like 88% in Super League, and he normally kicks them, so that is one lucky break there for Hull.
Paul Johnson, by the way, is a man who's come on in the blood bin for Mick Cassidy. There's that try again. I think that might get rerun a few times in the Wild household. How many copies of the video will they need? They'll need at least 11, won't they, with all those brothers and sisters?
Hold.
Let's restart. Well, the glimmer of hope that Hull will take from Farrell's miss is that it's still a 12-point gap, so 2 tries, 2 goals, and they're back level, but that's a big, big ask against this Wigan team. Oh, it's lost, and it went forward.
Well, I think the key for Hull here too, Dave, now is getting Smith back on the field. I know he's had a head clash. Getting him back on the field and working with Horn and Cook, 3 outstanding attacking players, because they do need to score points now.
They do have a lot of ball-playing talent, don't they? Horn and Chester and Cook and Smith, the 4 of them. A lot of talent in those fingertips. Oh, that was a forward pass. Oh, that was a schoolboy error, really.
Yeah, I thought it was a tough call by the ref. The video will probably tell us if the ref was right or wrong, but you know, these are the opportunities you can't relent. You get field position, they come up with an error, Wigan after that try. Yeah, that's forward. He needed to continue moving forward after he passed it, and the ref was right to pull it up.
Here's Farrell. Mainscope. Stephen Wild is being helped back a yard or 2. Howard. News from the bench is that Jason Smith has a cut to the mouth and is still a little dazed. Oh, that's good play. Here's Lamb. Radlinsky in support. Lamb used him well. But a good tackle coming in the end. Marr was the man who recovered the second row forward. But Wigan have a bit of a gap on the right here. Here's O'Neill, cuts back in again. The whole defence is at 6s and 7s. That was a sloppy pass. But Radlinsky has recovered. Oh, and he's going for the line. Here's Dallas. Well, in the end, the whole defence recovered. And they might just see this out, because here's a 6th tackle. Farrell. Is he going to kick? No, he's going to throw. Well read by Mackay, good tackle. And in the end, the whole scramble defence is good. But a couple of chances there again for Wigan.
Well, it started from Newton again, and Lamb linked up with him. They regroup very well, that Hull. You know, and gee, there's some good play here for the first. Oh, there's an error. Gee, this will hurt him bad.
I think it was Jackson again. Just seemed to be standing still at the moment, Hull. And Wigan are anything but. Here's Lamb! Oh, what a wonderful dummy from Adrian Lamb! That completely fooled the whole defence. He waved his magic wand, and Wigan have another try.
Well, there we go, Jackson. He had a great first half. He's come up with 2 major drop balls in the second half. That's 3 errors in a row now by Hull, and twice they've been punished with points by Wigan. You know, it's just, you know, with a field position like that, and with the errors, you know, with good players with Lamb around, you're only asking for trouble. Lamb now shows the ball, holds it out, creates doubt in the defence. He's got numbers on the outside, but they don't have numbers in defence, Hull, and he takes the opportunity. He's starting to run the ball a little bit, Hull, Lamb here in the second half, which is really bad warning signs for the Hull defence, because when he runs, there is no one more deceptive, and it creates space for the people inside and outside. I just feel at the moment, you know, I mean, they've just got away from what they were doing well, Hull, and Jackson's probably compounded with these errors, and you know, getting away from where they were doing very well in the first half is getting out of their half and applying pressure down the other end of the park.
Well, the news from the bench is that Jason Smith is back on. Here's Farrell's kick. This time it is good. Well, 3 times Hull have to score now, and this is the reason why.
Well, the centre was in 2 minds, Toa Love, because they had numbers on the outside. He was hoping the defender on the inside that could wrap up Lamb, but it wasn't possible because it was a forward and he was beaten for speed and he was beaten for space also. So, you know, there's a lot of work here to do for Hull, and the positive is they've been able to create space and create opportunities, but they need to control the ball.
Well, they've got a little bit of reorganising to do now.
A substitution for Hull, replacing number 9, Lee Jackson, is number 20, Gareth Carvel.
Lee Jackson has been substituted as well, which is not a surprising reaction from his coach, really, is it?
Well, you know, his coach has just said, you know, you're going for a bad stage here. We need to probably change our rhythm. I think why they've changed it too, they want to get Cook on with Smith and Horn, and now Smith's back. They need to go 3 good attacking players like that.
Here's O'Neill, and suddenly Wigan are running a little freer now, aren't they? They just had that confidence level back again, and that's a terrific break from Johnson. On from the bench and anxious to make his point as well. And Hull are offside.
Now he's got a forward pass from dummy half. I think you find the linesman's picked that up, and he's instructed the referee on that one. Well, it is forward.
Borderline, wasn't it? But
yeah, it was borderline. You see a lot of them get away with it too, don't you?
Here's Bird. Paul Cook's come on as well for Adam Marr. You might have seen him retreating from the pitch a few moments ago. There's Rayner. Spoilt again because of the hard-working defence by Wigan, but Stephen Wild has just knocked on in, trying to get hold of that ball.
That's fair enough. It was knocked down by Wigan. It should be a Hull feed here. You're looking to tackle here. Try and unload the ball to Rayner, the Jason Robertson look-alike, and it comes down off the Wigan player, which is a fair call. Hull retain possession.
Here's Paul Johnson, Harvey Howard. Paul Johnson packing down in the second row.
Heads in, Andy. Get in.
Bird.
Interesting play by the Wigan coach, Stuart Raper. His 3 front rowers, O'Connor, Harvey Howard and Smith, aren't on the field. He's gone a very mobile and smaller pack.
Carvel, Smith, Sean Ryan, Cassidy, the latest man to come on. It's a good driving run as well from Greenhill. Now, what can they do from here? 6th tackle, they're only about 15 yards away. Inside ball from Smith, trying to keep it alive, but in the end, Carvel couldn't keep the passing momentum alive. And Wigan quite happy with their defensive stint again.
I think Smith would have been happy that he picked up King on the inside and tried to exploit their inside defence, Wigan, but I think he would have been disappointed that King died with the ball. It was last tackle. He had to throw caution to the wind and just get the ball out the back door.
Carney. Newton's little offload. Picks up Connolly. Lamb. Farrell. Loves to run down that little channel, doesn't he? And teammates claiming that it was a little high, but referee says, let's play on. Here's Cassidy again.
There's been another clash of heads down there, especially with Sean Ryan.
Lamb's chip downfield. Crowther's a little unsure, but collects it safely in the end, and then sees a wall of Cherry and White. They've traced that kick well again, Wigan. There's Dion Burke. Can't go around him, try and go through him. Carney was up to it. Crowther. Chester. Just need a break now, don't they? Hull, a little break, 80 yards or something, or a try just to get their confidence back again, just to get them going the right way once again. Here's Smith, and that's a hopeful ball out to Crowther.
Well, the good thing is they're getting to the end of their sets of 6 now. It was that period where they scored those tries, Wigan, not coming up the areas and not completing their set of 6. At least they're getting back into a bit of a rhythm here and applying pressure to the Wigan defence.
That was a super kick and a super take from Brett Dallas. The ball was swirling around, and he never took his eye off it and took it very easily in the end.
It's a winger and fullback's nightmare, this stadium, isn't it? Gee, it swirls that breeze. Now they've undone all the good work, Hull, by completing a set of 6 and, you know, and a good chase on the kick while they're coming up with a penalty on the first tackle. And, you know, and now they're going to be defending on their try line at this end of this set of 6.
Well, compounded because a penalty was given away and then somebody spoke out of turn. I think it was Dion Bird. So suddenly they marched another 10 yards downfield.
They'd be disappointed, Sean McRae. You know, I mean, they've come out in the second half. They've come up with some errors, some penalties. You know, I mean, it's not a reflection on their first half performance.
Here's Bivey. Toa Koilov was not going to let go.
Come on, Greg!
There's another injury down there as well. Here's Cassidy. Newton. Lamb. Oh, and another little scampering run from Adrian Lamb. This time he was stopped, but only just. Newton again. He'll drive by himself. Here's Rudlinski. Trying to tear himself through that whole defence again. Look at the litter blowing around. Shows you how much of a windy day it is. O'Neill.
I think Dave Whelan might have opened his wallet up. Is that money or litter?
You can't go saying things like that. Here's Lamb again, little jab kick. It's Rudlinski who's chasing. Oh, has he got it down? No, I don't think he has.
I think it's a try.
Yes, he has. Never give up on a Chris Rudlinski chase. He's got the try that surely now has taken Wigan through to the 5th round of the Kellogg's Nutri-Game Challenge Cup. Hull's hearts are broken.
Well, if you look here, in the first instance, we were talking about the errors they come up with. Hull, they were penalised by tries by Wigan. Now they come up with a penalty. Radlinski, it's a favourite with Lamb and Radlinski. He gets in behind him, Radlinski. Looking very sharp here today, Radlinski. Now they're looking very tight, Hull. Lamb's running the ball. Great kick underneath the post. Dion Bird's had to turn. He was in the defensive line because they were short on numbers from the unloads in previous rucks. And now all of a sudden, with Farrell converting under the post, it looks very comfortable at the moment for Wigan.
Well, it stretches the lead to 24 points. Chris Rudlinski is the poacher supreme. With 130 tries in just 212 appearances for Wigan. And most of them have come in similar circumstances to that. Alive to the situation.
It's very hard to defend against that, Dave, because first of all, you've got players in your defensive line and you've got to worry about the immediate, and you don't have a lot of room behind you because you're so close to the line, so you can't have people sitting back waiting for the kick. And Radlinski's, timing on that's very good, and Lamb's execution's very good, and it's very noticeable now. Lamb's running the ball a lot more, and you'll find Radlinski will really hunt up behind Lamb, trying to take advantage of that.
Remember, the world champions are coming next, the Bradford Bulls against the Leeds Rhinos in our double-header of rugby league action here on Grandstand this afternoon. Really is a flying start to this year's Challenge Cup competition. Full commentary from Valley Parade, where I'm sure it's filling up nicely now. Here's O'Neill. O'Connor.
It's interesting, Craig Smith, the new import for Wigan. He's only played the first 17 minutes and hasn't reappeared back in the game.
Hasn't played a competitive game since last August, though, has he? Because he was suspended for a long time in Australia. Rather controversially, that high running style he has. A bit like a fast bowler being called in for throwing, isn't it, really?
Well, he's continually getting caught in Australia with it, and I'm sure there's a lot of Super League coaches will be interested to see if he uses it over here in the UK.
There's Reina. Carvel. Bird. There you can see the tackles reasonably even at this stage of the competition. Wigan had to do most of the defending a large spell in the first half, but it's Hall now. We're on the rack. Here's Smith. Little ball inside for Hall. Nice little cameo of fancy handling there, wasn't it, from the two Hull players? Bird. Desperate handling, and it needs to be at this stage. Here's Ryan. Stretches his legs. Carvo on this right-hand side. It's Rayner. Can't keep hold. Can't keep it in play. But who's heading feet?
I think he's going to give the feed back to Hull. No, he's going to give it to Wigan. I don't understand why he wanted to flick that out. You know what I mean? It was very much a rugby union rolling the ball at the maul area. He's tackled here. It's all dead and buried. He did similar to what Graham Mackay did earlier. He takes the tackle there at Wigan the next ruck. And he didn't deliberately push it over the sideline, the Wigan player. That's why the referees ruled it. Even though it come off a Wigan player, he didn't play at it, so it's a Wigan feed.
So Mick Cassidy, who got a cut to his enemies earlier in the game, and a clash of heads with Jason Smith, and obviously it's not recovered. So he's off for another spell on the sidelines.
Those Hull fans are great, Dave, aren't they? Listen to them singing and over there and cheering their players on. The noise they're generating in that stand's incredible. It's a credit to Hull.
Well, the rebirth of rugby league in many ways on Humberside, we shouldn't say that, East Yorkshire I think they prefer it to be called, has really given fresh impetus to the Super League and the Challenge Cup in the last couple of years, and Hull really are a team that is back in the big time, and their fans deserve to be, because they are, as you say, very, very passionate for their side.
Craig Smith's returned the fray now with 17 minutes to go, and I'd say there's going to be a real hit out for Craig in the last 17 minutes.
O'Neill's kick through, taken by Crowther. Smart take as well by the winger, but can't make too much distance. And you see Smith, the man who's back. Bird. Harry Love almost left it behind. Well, that's a good break as well. Here's a chance. King eventually hammered down, rather Carvel, the man who's hammered down, 20 yards away from the Wigan line. Smith now, doing what he likes best, running in this open play. Master Crowther couldn't put him through, but it's a penalty. Well, offside, the referee has decided.
Yeah, he played the advantage there, Dave. He didn't want to impede the progress forward, Hull. He's played the advantage, and he's now come back to it and given Hull a penalty.
Sean McRae just hidden there. You might be able to see him. He's got the baseball cap on him. Little moustache as well, but he was well hidden. There he is in the centre of your screen. The earpiece in his left ear. Hull have 15 minutes to rescue this tie and to rescue their Challenge Cup ambitions. Smith, short pass. Carvel with the burst. Oh, and he's through the ball. Carvel for the line. What a terrific blockbusting try by Gareth Carvel. Simply brushed them off and brushed them away. And Hull just have hope.
Well, they still have hope there. They've got a time on the clock. And the thing is, they're making clean breaks when they get down here. It's just the errors they've turned up the other end of the park, which put too much pressure on them. Once again, the ball leads from Smith. Smith, they hold off Smith, and Newton holds off him. Carvel gets there. He's too strong. Redlinski come up with a great tackle before when they made a break. This time he wasn't as successful. But once again, it comes around Smith. People running into holes. A poor tackle there by the Wigan player. Redlinski tries to hold him out. Newton comes back at him, but the bloke's too big and strong, and it's next to the post.
Kick has gone over as well from Matt Crowther. Quickly taken. They need to get on with it, but it's 18 points now, the difference. Still have to score 3 unanswered tries, don't they, Hull? It's still an enormous ask, but with that kind of passion behind them, you never know.
Over the last few years, 18 points in 15 minutes hasn't been a bigger ask as you think, and you know, they need to score next naturally, but it's not as big as you think, and they are making breaks. It's not as if that's their only break of the afternoon. They are making breaks. They just need to convert them into points, and they don't need that. No. That's poor.
Andy Farrell's kick from the halfway line, allowed to bounce out of play, which means that instead of having the ball and running it back at Wigan, Hull will now have to drop it out from underneath their sticks.
Gee, this is schoolboy stuff, you know. I mean, you'd be disappointed if a schoolboy team did this, and now they've lost all that momentum they were gaining. Sean McRae be pulling his hair out over that.
It's a terrific dropout, though. Watch O'Connor return it, though. If Hull are looking for inspiration, they might look back to that classic 1985 Cup final when Wigan raced into a lead. Hull almost came back, but for a couple of missed kicks, they might have tied that game. In the end, they lost it 28-24. So there are slight echoes in the scoreline as well at the moment. But they need a ball in their hands. Wigan pressing for another. Here's Furner. Lamb on the 6th tackle. Bodies flying all over the place, and almost Craig Smith would just seem to be ambling towards the ball, and for a moment posed a real threat to that whole line.
Well, Lamb was kicking for O'Neill, but he was taken off the ball just out the side of the screen. We just miss it there. There he is, there on the side of the screen, and Smith, the front row, just on. You know, they've scored a try, Hull, and now they're going to have to tackle 12 tackles in a row for not controlling from the kick-off. You know, I mean, they deserve everything they deserve here, having to do this extra work.
Here's Carney. You can see at the back the Wigan coach Stuart Raper, John Keir alongside him. They'll be happy with the progress from this round of the Cup, if not entirely happy with the way their side has played. One or two areas to improve. As O'Connor tries the offload and Jason Smith produces the interception. Got Jason on his back, by the way, because there are a couple of other Smiths in the whole squad, not playing today, but Tony Smith and Chris Smith, so it does become confusing if they're all wearing Smith on their back. So those three tend to wear their first names, and now Hull have a penalty, and Wigan's turn to make a mistake.
Yeah, but, you know, I think maybe the horse might have bowled it there, you know. They should have had the ball in their hands, Hull, for these last 2 or 3 minutes, and they've been defending. And at least the penalty down out by Wigan was down in the Hull's half.
Looking for the platform with the big fellas. Here's Dion Bird. Had a bit of a travel in his rugby league career, played with Adelaide and Paris Saint-Germain. 2 real outposts in both hemispheres. Curry Love. Here's Chester. Jason Smith. Short ball for Craven. Came through at pace and back to Jason Smith again. They have numbers out left now. Smith's involved for the 3rd time, and he's still trying to unthread that Wigan defence. Well, they'll pass it any which way they can.
Well, now the rest played on. He's nullified at 6. I thought he stopped play.
Looked for a moment as though he'd given the knock on.
Yeah, he looked like he indicated it, and then he's gone back to 6 again. So they've got another 6 tackles, Hull.
There's a drive forward from Paul King. Good offload as well. Hull are coming at them in waves here. Here's Craven. Just on the edge of the 6-yard box, as you can see. King with a drive.
So they've got numbers on their left again, Hull. There's a slow play, the ball's going to impede it.
Here's Crowther. Oh, Craven can't hold. Jason Smith retains it. What are his options here? Not many. Just has to take the tackle. Hull desperate to score here. If they can get a try in these next few moments, that really would give them a real foothold back in the game again. Mackay. Wigan working hard, making sure he can't get it away, and when he does, he's given it away, and Wigan have it back once more.
Oh, they had Wigan on the rack there, and you know they just lacked a bit of composure. Hull did.
Rydlinski, nice sidestepping run from outside his own 20 metres. Eventually put down, but he's relieved an awful lot of pressure there single-handedly, Chris Rydlinski. Farrell. Terrific player, Chris Rydlinski, one of those targeted by the English Rugby Union, but decided not to go to Twickenham, deciding to stay instead in Rugby League. Lamb. O'Neill. Inside ball again. Given away by Furner. There had to be a knock on there, surely. Yes, there is.
Well, that's an interesting one. You're nodding it was a knock on, and I'm thinking maybe it wasn't. It was knocked back. So it's advantage to Hull, whatever way it's going to go. And,
there was your knock on.
Yeah, there it is.
There was your knock on.
Yep. Eagle eyes you.
Yeah. I wear glasses. That's why I wear glasses. Of course, has got the duties of picking the man of the match today, and it's a pretty difficult task, really, isn't it? Not been a flowing game.
Yeah, there's probably a few people that put up their hands for it, and we'll have to deliberate that for the next couple of minutes.
There's Caleb. Bird. Richard Hall. Hull still just have a glimmer, but not much of one, because time is fast running out here. 7 minutes to go. They still have to score 3 times, and that is a huge, huge ask. Carvel waits at dummy half. Horn. Chest a little dab through again. Dallas has it covered. It's a bit of a rattling tackle as well. I've seen an awful lot of Brett Dallas in this game. There are a lot of flair players in both sides, aren't there? A lot of real good runners with the ball. But the way the game has been played, we've not really had a chance to see many of them in full flight, have we, today?
No, there hasn't been a lot of movement to the wings. A lot of the breaks have been around the ruck area and tight to the play of the ball, which hasn't probably influenced the ball going as wide as those Speeches would have liked.
Connolly. Sixth tackle. Farrell's boots. Now, what can Rayner do from here? He's capable of a lot, but when he just gets past the tackle, the first tackle, can't get past the second. Bird. Paul King. Jason Smith back inside again to Carvel, who's proved to be a very boisterous presence in the whole lineup since he's come on from the bench. Sixth tackle again. Jason Smith. So Curry Love. Rayner back inside again to Crowther. Has to kick. It's a six tackle, and it produced that response from Jamie Ainscough.
Well, instead of kicking it there, he had people on the inside, and
there's Ian Millwall's choice of man of the match. In a sneak preview then a few seconds ago.
Well, I think he deserved it. You know, he opened up the first try with great anticipation and taken that opportunity of that play the ball. He's worked very well on the inside on Lamb. You know, he's chased a couple of kicks he's a bit unlucky on. He's created a lot of options around the rucks, and you know, I think if you look where the breaks have been made, it's been around that area, and he has dominated that area and done much better than Jackson in the second half in their duel.
Kellogg's neutral grain man of the match for this fourth round tie. Farrell. Testing kick again. Now, who wants this in the whole defence? Not an awful lot of movement there in the end. Well, Matt Crowther just poked it out of play as a defensive option, but you rather feel they should have reacted a little better to that.
Well, if you look at it, Redlinski's tried really hard here. You know, like the old saying, the harder I work, the luckier I get. Now, we've got two whole people back, and they kicked the ball from 10 yards out, 5 yards out from their line. Gee, you would have thought they could have picked it up and kept it in the field of play instead of having to doing another set of six. But the pressure was applied by Radlinski and his urgency to chase the ball.
Stephen Wild back on again. It's get a little confusing with these substitutions, doesn't it? Players are on and off all the time. So Stephen Wild, you might remember him from earlier, having scored that try, wondering why not he coming back on again, but he has had a spell on the touchlines just to grab his breath.
I'm sure the coach is trying to give him a little bit of time now to show him what the big league's all about and give him a little bit of experience.
He'll remember this game for an awful long time, won't he? First ever try in a Wigan shirt, the team he supported as a youngster. Newton at dummy half. Here's O'Neill. Now Lamb. Moving it to this left-hand side. Farrell pulled down. Well, it's just getting a little scrappy now, isn't it? I think Hull have realised they're going out of the competition. Giving away another penalty. Here's Farrell. Oh, he's dropped the ball. Andy Farrell has dropped the ball. There's a collector's item. You don't see that very often. And Hull have it back again. Might we see a 90-yard spectacular just to finish things?
They've put a lot of effort in, Hull. Both teams have. You know, the game's been played at cracking pace for such an early game in the season.
There's Crowther. Chance to run. Mackay just dabbed in through the gap. Mackay again. Here's Jackson. Chance having come on from the bench once more to redeem himself in the game. Smith. Oh, that's a nice ball. Dion Burr just couldn't quite keep hold, but again we just saw another cameo of what makes Jason Smith so good.
Well, it was a very flat ball, and the first thing you looked at was the ref going to play it on. Yes, he was. It was okay, the ball, but he doesn't control the pass. And try time was on, because if you look up there, we had a support player, which would have been a 2-on-1 with the fullback, which you would have thought would have been try time.
Reminder again that
looks like Terry Newton's showering up, mate, to get ready to get that Man of the Match award.
Yeah. We'll be eating breakfast bars for a month now, thanks to you. Looks to be holding his groin a little there. Maybe picked up an injury. Another couple of weeks before we can have another game now with the next round of the Challenge Cup, and then the Super League season follows on hard on the heels of that. So a little bit of time to recover, but not a lot of time.
No, they'll probably need a break after this. There'll be some sore boys tomorrow from both teams.
Drive in again. Terry O'Connor is such a terrific workhorse for Wigan. Had a nose job last season, didn't he, Terry O'Connor? Got a nasty smashed face, which required a bit of surgery. Not sure he's much better looking since, but...
So you can imagine people like Cliff Watson in the old days worrying about nose surgery, couldn't you? They'd turn their eyebrows at that one.
He used to play with broken arms in the old days, didn't they? Here's Furner. Good break. Oh, the pass again was not a good one, but it went backwards. Here's Cassidy. Cassidy, little ball back, and it's going to be a debut touchdown for Craig Smith. Well, it was all rather scrappy, and he might finish off more glorious handling moves in his Wigan career, but Craig Smith will not argue. with that try on his debut. Wigan now, if they weren't before, are home and dry.
Well, Ferner back on the inside of a Farrell pass, comes off Radlinski's boot, and who would be there but Radlinski, of course. Cassidy picks it up, shows good skill here, Cassidy, to unload the ball to Smith, who's come on very fresh from that break. But Ferner, he causes problem when he comes back on the inside. Radlinski anticipates it always on the inside of Farrell and Ferner. Unfortunately, he's disappointed there, Radlinski. He thought there was a chance for a try. Cassidy not greedy. Smith gets rewarded for backing up on the inside.
Andy Farrell has a chance to push the score to 34 here. No, he's not going to miss that. Maybe a slight exaggeration of Wigan's dominance of the game. 34 points to 10, the hooter sounds.
Well, the first half I thought was very complimentary to Wigan to be up 12-0, but they have dominated the second half. Wasn't much between them in the first half, but you know they have dominated in all aspects in the second half and thoroughly deserved their win, Wigan.
Well, they went out at this stage last season, did Wigan, against your side St Helens, didn't they? But having got through this now, they will fancy themselves as potential Challenge Cup winners. Edinburgh awaits Wigan, who haven't appeared in a Challenge Cup final since